Hello and welcome. This is Katie. Thanks so much for stopping by. I am back with another project for Maker Forte, and today I'm using scraps in this video. So I had a bunch of panels that I created with my pigment powders that I had laying around for the last couple years. My people who've been following me have seen these panels probably in previous videos. I'll link a playlist up for you if you want to check that out. But I wanted to use those and do some experimenting with different colored stamping and embossing and things like that. So we're going to use the poinsettia stamp set from Maker Forte. And I'm going to pull in a few other ones, but here's my little folder that's got a bunch of different panels of scrap backgrounds that I did. And so I pulled a couple of them out and created 5 cards for them. So I'm using some sticky grid adhesive to hold everything down in my Misty, and I highly recommend these. In a lot of ways they work better than magnets because you got free flow of your space. I'm using a piece of, I think it's 2-inch wide, I put it away, 2-inch wide Post-it tape, because I needed to protect the backside of my card base. Now these are the smaller cards that I like, note cards that I like to make, and they measure, the base measures 4 7/8 inches wide by 7 inches long, and then on the 7-inch side we're scoring at 3.5 inches. And then the panel, the colored panel, I cut those down to 2.5 inches wide by 4 inches long. Now I'm showing you a couple different ways in this video because you can saw in the photos that they're pretty much the same cards, right? So I'm showing you there's 2 different ways that you could create your eclipse technique with these cards. So this first way is what I'm doing here. I put the card panel down on the card base, used my anti-static powder tool because I'm using embossing powder, and stamped everything several times so I got a nice impression around the border of the card panel there onto the card base, and then of course a good impression on our card panel. Now lining it up, and we're good to go, adding a couple pieces of scraps. This is a scrap video, so I'm using scraps to add my dimension and put my layers inside of my card panels. Now, the second way is this way, where you just stamp the image directly onto your card base, and then you add in your colored panel to, you know, over top, and then you stamp it again. So there's a couple different ways here that you can achieve the look. It depends on what bothers you. I'm going to say that because the first way, where I did the silver embossing powder, it's going to give you an edge where everything's not going to meet up exactly. And the second way is going to give you that seamless, you'd have to look down the panel, you know, underneath that colored panel to see if you know, there's a break in the stamping. So it really just depends on what bothers you and what doesn't. And so now for the sentiments, we're rolling right into those. I'm using the Holiday Seals stamp set, and I'm just coordinating the stamping for those. So for my navy and silver, I used silver embossing powder. And for the gold panel, I did gold embossing powder. And then of course for all the black panels that have the black stamping, I did the Eclipse Black. And so the other sentiments I pulled from were from the Holly Berries. So the Happy Holidays comes from the Holly Berries stamp set from Maker Forte, and then the Season's Greetings comes from that poinsettia stamp set. This one's my favorite. I love the gold, but I wanted to show, make sure your gun is super hot if you're stamping onto your card base. You know, you're heat embossing your card base. You can see here mine's a little bit warped. My gun wasn't quite as hot as it should have been. So I did add some panels, extra stock panels on the inside, just like I did with the navy here. Now the navy didn't warp quite as bad because I had the gun pretty hot. So just keep that in mind if you struggle with warping of your cardstock. And then of course the stamping with the black Eclipse Black ink. And I think they're cute. I like how they turned out, and they're nice, quick and easy cards that don't really take a lot of time because you already have those backgrounds in your stash. But that is going to wrap it up, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Be sure and check the description box below and check out the crafter party, which is Maker Maker Forte's Facebook group and share what you guys are making. We'd love to see what you guys are doing. Here's a playlist for the Procyon pigment powders where I show you how I made these backgrounds, several videos of those. And thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.